Raider Nation, what is going on? It is the Raider D here on the Raider D podcast. Hope you all had a wonderful day today. We're going to be talking about a few things today, including the man, Aidan O'Connell, is looking like he is going to be QB1 for the rest of the season, as reports have come out that he has been taking all of the first team reps, while Desmond Ridder has been taking the second team reps yesterday and today. And I do understand that these are unofficial reps that he's taken because he wasn't technically off IR until today. However, that being said, he was in there and he was working with the first team regardless. And so it does appear as though Aidan O'Connell will be getting his starting quarterback position back. And it has been an absolute wild ride for this young man since he came into the NFL. Not expecting to play at all yesterday, then getting shoved into the starting position, doing and playing pretty well for the situation that he was thrown in. And then getting thrown into a quarterback competition with another backup quarterback, Gardner Minshew, and Gardner Minshew getting paid $15 million guarantee. And he losing his job to Gardner Minshew, even though all the reports that were out there is that Aidan O'Connell performed better both in practice as well as in preseason. And then Gardner Minshew takes over. Well, Gardner Minshew plays, and he plays horribly, and then he gets benched, and AOC gets thrown in the fire in a couple of games late in the game when it's kind of too late for him to do anything to begin with. Well, now he then breaks his thumb, and he's out for several weeks with the broken thumb. And then all of a sudden, Gardner Minshew on Sunday goes out for the season with a broken collarbone. And now Aidan O'Connell is going to be QB1 once again. Wow. What a wild turn of events for the Las Vegas Raiders. We're going to get into that and more on today's episode of the Raider D podcast. Yes, I know no fireworks on the live stream. I don't have that set up. I don't know how to do that. Excuse me. I'm sorry. I am not a computer nerd. Maybe one day I'll be able to hire one and we'll have explosions and all kinds of cool stuff. But as of right now, we just keep it straight up. What is going on? I see Raider Ryan in here, Robert in here. What's going on? Salute to you guys. Appreciate all of your being here and support of the Raider D podcast. Hope you all had a great day. So it also appears in other news is though Daniel Jones is being picky. Despite the fact that he got the cold shoulder and cut by his team, the New York Giants, who he has been with his entire NFL career, he has zero intention whatsoever of coming and joining the Las Vegas Raiders. According to insider reports, and these aren't my insider reports, they're out there on the interwebs, is that he's like, hell to the no, I ain't going to Las Vegas. That team is worse than the Giants. That's how bad it is that a quarterback could get cut by his team that drafted him 6th overall in the middle of a season. And he, you would assume that he would want to go to a team where he would have a chance to be the immediate starter and resume his career. He thinks so poorly of the Raiders that he would rather sit on the bench behind Lamar Jackson and win a Super Bowl ring, possibly, even though he won't get a single snap. That's how bad the Raiders are right now, Raider Nation. How y'all feeling about that? Talk to me, Raider Nation. Get those comments in. Let me know how you guys are feeling about seeing Aidan O'Connell back. Thumbs up, thumbs down. How are you feeling about AOC back in action and most likely going to be QB1 against the Chiefs? I honestly wanted to see Desmond Ridder. I love AOC, but I wanted to see Desmond Ridder because we've got nothing to lose at this point in the season. But we're not going to. Apparently, according to reports that are coming out, it does look as though Aidan O'Connell will be QB1 against the Chiefs. We'll see how far that goes. I mean, if we're getting blown out by the Chiefs, we'll probably see Desmond Ridder thrown in there again. Because, one thing that has been made very abundantly clear is that Antonio Pierce cannot make a decision when it comes to a quarterback. Raider Ryan, what is going on? Giants get rid of Daniel Jones and Danny DeVito is injured now. LOL. Robert says, agree with you, Raider D. Well, you're a smart man if you agree with me. Not really. Just kidding. No, I appreciate that, though. Any other thoughts, guys? Let me know how you guys are feeling about Aidan O'Connell being back. We're going to put you up here on the big board and read off as many of these comments as we get started tonight, and it gets hot and heavy up in here. That redneck, what is going on? We wouldn't want him. He might start and accidentally win a game. Personally, I am pretty upset Minshew doesn't finish out our record giveaway season. I mean, right now, we are... there are some reports that have us with the second overall pick. It depends on the strength of schedule because we have a three-way tie for the number one. Strength of schedule means a lot, and we're just a couple of points ahead of New York in that regard. So according to Tankathon, we're third. But according to others, we're second. So I don't know, those are not official numbers, I think, coming out of the NFL, so I'm not really sure. But we'll see how it all ends up. But I think either way, as we get through these last few games, we're going to find out. We're going to find out where the Raiders are going to be. If it's going to be a top 5 pick, I still think that we end up with either Cam, Ward, or Shedeur Sanders. His Stick Stepper, what is going on? Wa alaikum salam. Thank you so much for being here and all the support you give, bro. Raider Ryan says, I wanted to see Ridder too. I think that we will see him. Unfortunately, it's going to be more of this garbage time, sending him in. Fourth quarter, we're down by 21. So you don't really get to see him perform. And because he's not repping with the first team, he's not going to have that connection with his receivers anyway. And that's going to suck. Sevilla, yes, we need him back to the Raiders. Raider Ryan says, the tank commander is gone. Love it. His Stick, what's going on? I think we're going to make it a game with AOC starting, but we're still going to catch the L against KC. Well, I don't know, man. KC started out hot. But, the referees can only save you and give you so many victories before it becomes too obvious, so they had to get a couple losses. But they're not unbeatable, man. They are not unbeatable. Any given Sunday, things could fly our way. Look, man, what happens if Aidan O'Connell does what he did last year and he beats him again? I know he wasn't a big reason why we beat him yet last year, but he was the starting quarterback. What if he does that again? And then, there's reports out that Deion Sanders, again, is indicating that he wants Shedeur to go to the Raiders. It makes sense. So the Raiders are in between a rock and a hard spot. And to be honest, I'm kind of wondering if we're putting Aidan O'Connell in order to make sure that we lose. Because I'm wondering if his hand's even fully healed yet. So maybe the hope is that, well, he'll just play so bad that we'll lose anyway. I hate that for him. I hate that he's going to have to go through this. But we all know that Aidan O'Connell is not going to be the starting quarterback next year. If he is, it won't be for long because we are going to draft a franchise quarterback. Not much of a secret out there when it comes to that. If Raiders have a big score, we might see Ridder, says Scott. So if the Raiders were up on KC by a whole bunch, that's a possibility. But I don't see it though. We just can't put up points. And here's the other thing, Antonio Pierce threw Scott Turner under the bus this past couple of days in his press conference saying that, we threw the ball too much. Well, look, man, do you want to be in charge of the offense? Go get you a playbook or shut up, Antonio Pierce, please. No disrespect to the coach, but you ain't out there with a playbook. Scott Turner, I thought, called a pretty good game. Gardner Minshew didn't execute. Simple as that. Turnovers kill us. Other than that, we probably would have won that game. Red Ryan, I really hope his hand is 100% for him to come in. That's not fair to him. Yeah, I know. I hate to see Aidan O'Connell being kind of the fall guy for the Raiders to end up with a first-round draft pick. That would suck, man, because I really like that kid. McQuarty 101 says they made plays. Scott did fine. Yeah, I mean, that's what I'm saying is like there was, in my opinion, that was one of the better offensive play calls that the Raiders have had this season when Scott and his dad up there in the box. So I wasn't mad at the play calling this past week at all. It just was a lack of execution to get some of those plays done is what hampered the Raiders. Let's take a look at Aidan O'Connell and some of his stats. All right, so looking at some of his stats here. Last year, he played in 11 games. He had a 62.1% completion rating, put up 2,218 yards, 6.5 yards average per pass, 12 touchdowns, 7 interceptions. Man, excuse me. This winter time, man, it gets dark and I start yawning. It's not even late. 12 touchdowns, 7 interceptions with a 50-yard long. He did get sacked 24 times. Now, in 4 games that he's played, he's only been sacked 3 times, so he's done better there. Completion percentage is up to 63.4, which is nice. 455 yards, 5.5 yards average, so that's not nice. I mean, that's a lot of dink and dunk. That's why his average has gone up. And that's Luke Getsy's offense. So you got to kind of expect that. But now with Scott Turner calling the plays, you're going to see more deep shots and deeper routes. 2 touchdowns, 2 interceptions. Not good. 50-50 there. And he only has a long of 30. Again, I think against the Chiefs and moving forward, Scott Turner calling the plays, you are going to see more of these deep shots down the field with Aidan O'Connell. Aidan O'Connell can certainly make those types of plays all day long. Histic says, our offense moved the pill. We were in the red zone 5 times, but offense stalled out as usual. Yeah, and that's why I'm saying, like, some of the play calling in the personnel packages for some of these plays is a little mind-boggling. But I want to see, when we're in the red zone, 5 yards, 10 yards away from that touchdown, I want to see Brock Bowers and Michael Mayer in there. I want my 2 tall tight ends in there. And I want to be able to just get them in a one-on-one situation and just throw them up a high point 50-50 ball. Because they're going to come down with it. That's something that we haven't really seen the Raiders do with Brock Bowers as of yet. We don't see them throwing to Brock Bowers in the back of the end zone, out jumping, a 5'10" cornerback trying to cover him. And I want to see more of that. Matt M. AOC should have been the starting quarterback from day one. I definitely cannot argue against that, Matt. You make a great point. Again, I keep having to address this offensive line thing. I know we have PTSD from the first 5 games, but guys, our offensive line has been playing really good for the past 3 or 4 weeks now. I mean, I'll look up the rankings right now for the. See if I can get it for just the games. Because if it's overall, it's not going to be that great. But we keep saying, oh, we don't have an offensive line. Oh, we don't have an offensive line. We have an offensive line, guys. They've been playing pretty good. I don't know how new this one is, but the Lions have the best offensive line according to Sharp Football Analysis. See where we're at with the Raiders. The Raiders are ranked 18th. That's overall. That's the whole season. So that's including the first 5 or 6 games of the season. It's not talking about how the Raiders the past 3 weeks have really played a lot better. I mean, we have the Giants are dead last. Let me share this with you. Pull up this screen. We're not actually that bad, Jose. Here's the Raiders right here. At number 18. We are ranked 18th. Offensive line. This is offensive line rankings for 2024. This is this is back in October 7th. Let me try to find a newer one because we might be higher. We might be higher than 18. The Lions, they just got an offensive line that's outstanding. It's crazy. Let's see what PFF has us at. Okay, so PFF has us at 19. We're top 20, guys. If your offensive line is top 20, including the horrible 5 games to start the season, and we're still in the top 20, that means the past 4 games we've been playing really good offensive line. And this says there is a lot to be optimistic about with the Raiders' offensive line. Colton Miller has developed into one of the NFL's best left tackles. Oh, this has got to be old because that's saying Andre James. He sucks. This can't be up to date. No way. That says Andre James. Oh, that's September 3rd. Can we get something, I don't know, like more recent? There's got to be a way to track this. That's October, July. Oh my goodness. Let me check Perplexity, man. This Google search sucks. Google search sucks. Let's check Perplexity. See if we can find some up-to-date information. Nope, it's still just same information saying 19th, but that's outdated information. Because it's still talking about Andre James. He's not the center anymore. Huh. Well, alrighty then. If you guys can find it, that would be interesting. Anthony Montana says AOC earned the starting job over Minshew. Minshew started in September because of his contract only. Yep. Telesco drafted well, but Telesco's free agent signings were horrific. Jordan Meredith been playing really good, free agent. Christian Wilkins was playing really good till he broke his foot. Injuries happen. Andres Pete, yeah, that one, but he didn't cost anything. Ray Ybarra. Beside needing a QB, we need a 6'3", 6'5" wide receiver. We have good, solid players, but not enough weapons. That's true. That's true. And I always love to see the Raiders get Territoria Rora. Could never say that dude's first name. Roa McMillan. That kid's going to be a phenomenal wide receiver. But again, I think that the Raiders can definitely go out in the free agency and make a strong push at T. Higgins. He's your 6'4" guy. Wide receiver number 1. That'll be obviously in the offseason. Redneck says, as an Alaskan, it is nice to see our only first-round draft pick, Tyree Wilson, doing better at DL. Yeah, he has been improving the past couple of weeks. That's for sure. He's been playing better. He's getting pressure on the quarterback. He's got him a couple of sacks. Let's see if he can keep it up, though. Let's see if he can keep it up. Scott says, in passing, the Raiders are 17th on NFL app. Okay. Do you see on there what we're ranked overall for the offensive line? Omari Hampton. Yeah, I mean, he's definitely going to be up there. He's going to be a possibility, but, you know, Omari Hampton's probably second round, maybe third. I mean, I would love to see a scenario somehow, some way, where we ended up with Cam Ward or Shador, and then moved back into the draft and got Ashton Genty, and in the free agency get T. Higgins. If you can't be effective as an offense with that kind of weaponry, combined with our stud tight ends that we have in Brock Bowers and Michael Mayer, and Jacoby Myers and Trey Tucker, I just don't know what else you could do. I don't know what else you could do. If you had Cam Ward, McMillan, or not McMillan, Ashton Genty, running back, and Brock Bowers, Michael Mayer, and T. Higgins, and Jacoby Myers to throw the ball to, how could you not have a potent offense at that time? You would just have to be a terrible team. You like Ward over? I like Ward over Sanders as well, but it's like a coin toss for me. I'm going to be okay with either one because I can tell you right now, either one is better than what we have right now. Either one is better than what we have right now. Scott says, in running the Raiders, 32nd. Yeah, in running offense, we're dead last. So I would love, that's why I'm saying, I would love to see the Raiders end up with Ashton Genty and Cam Ward. That would be just so sweet, man. The RPOs, the play actions, oh my God. I mean, like literally every play action you would do if you had Ashton Genty at running back on your team, every play action you do is going to scare the crap out of the linebackers because they have to stop Ashton Genty. That's going to open up, that would open up so many things for the Raiders. That would just be ridiculous. Matt says, I agree with you 100%, Raider D. Let's freaking go. C Boomer says they're both too expensive. Who are you talking about? Both? Are you talking about Cam and Ashton Genty? And how would that be too expensive? You mean contract wise or trading back into the first round wise? Because that's what the Raiders would have to do. We would have to trade back into the first round. How cool would it have been if somehow we would have made a trade to the Jets in the offseason for Devontae Adams for a first round draft pick? And they have a horrible season like they're having right now. And we would have ended up with like the number 1 and the number 6 overall draft picks, and we grab our franchise quarterback and our franchise running back. Now, there's 2 receivers that are going to go in the top 10. There's Travis Hunter and McMillan. Which one, if the Raiders just, fantasy football, if the Raiders were to draft a wide receiver after our quarterback, somehow we ended up with another first-round draft pick, which one would you guys want? Travis Hunter, Colorado, or McMillan? Arizona, right? I think McMillan's Arizona. For me, I would say Travis Hunter's, he's up there to win a Heisman. What he's able to do is amazing. But he's going to win the Heisman because he plays 80 snaps a game or more. Because he plays both corner and wide receiver. And he's great at both. He really is. But McMillan, that dude is just a true blue, straight up wide receiver. And man, is he fun to watch. Those one-handed catches he keeps making is crazy. And he's going to be good. He's going to be really good in the NFL, I think. But you could go after T. Higgins too, and then you wouldn't even have to worry about that. Because I kind of look at him and T. Higgins in very similar light. Obviously, T. Higgins is going to be a $30 million wide receiver, but T. Higgins is only 25. So I'll give up $30 million a year to a 25-year-old stud wide receiver like T. Higgins. So we got some votes for McMillan. Tony says McMillan. Anthony says McMillan. James says Ollie Gordon. Not a wide receiver, but running back, yeah, that I've talked about. Ollie's got some, I haven't checked his stats lately. Western Conference in the house, man. It has been so long since I've seen you in the comments, my man. How are you doing? Everybody, salute over to Western Conference. Another Raiders content creator. Knocks it out the park. Awesome, awesome stuff. If you guys don't know who Western Conference is, please go and check out his channel as well. Give him a sub. Support him. He does a really good job. Very hard-working man right there. Salute to you, brother. Let's look up Ollie Gordon, what his stats are right now. Because I have not been paying a whole lot of attention to him as of late. Okay, not bad. He's right on track where I thought he would be. He's at 870 yards on the season. Like I said, this is a down season for him. Last year he had over 1,700 yards. He's not going to get that this year. Doesn't have the same team. He does have 13 touchdowns. He's averaging 4.7, so that's down. So, yeah, certainly an off year for Ollie Gordon. No doubt, compared to what he had last year. So he could end up in the third. Yeah, the DUI was a big issue for him, but the DUI, the DUI should not affect his play. Though did he have a suspension though? So I don't think he's played as many games either. Because his carries are down as well. Last year, he had 285 carries, 1,732 yards, 6.1 average, 21 touchdowns with a 75-yard long. But Ollie Gordon is a good receiver too. At 6'2", 225 pounds, he better be. And he's got some good top speed as well. When he does break free, he's able to break free. Matt M says, watch your stuff, Western Conference. Also, both you men keep up the great work. I appreciate that, man. Appreciate that. We do. Redneck, and we will have $108 million to get Higgins and pay the guys we want to keep. So that's a good little segue for the show. Who do you guys want to see the Raiders keep? We got Nate Hobbs, contract year. Spillane, contract year. Diablo, contract year. Trayvon Merring, contract year. Malcolm Kuntz, contract year. And Marcus Epps, contract year. Out of those, who would you say your number one priority would be? Who would you keep? Like, you only have enough cap space to keep one of those guys I named. Who do you think is the most important? Nate Hobbs, Robert Spillane, Morang, Epps, Malcolm Kuntz, Divine Diablo. Who is the most important there? Redneck says Hobbs, Diablo, Kuntz. No Morang? I would put Morang in there. I'm not sold on Diablo. Tackling issues is an issue. He's a great athlete, but he doesn't tackle well. Hobbs and Spillane says Raider High. Okay. Raider Ryan says Spillane. Okay. I could definitely see that. Like, if I had to pick one guy, I can only keep one, I think I would go Spillane with you. Kevin says Spillane as well. Arnie says Kuntz, Hobbs, Mooring. Okay, but you can only keep one. You have to choose one. You can't choose three. You only get one. Like, imaginary world, there's only enough cap space to bring back one dude. Like, we have $108 million to spend, and we had to spend, $90 million of it to get, I don't know, Patrick Mahomes or something in a trade. I don't know. Something crazy happened. You only get to pick one out of Spillane, Hobbs, Divine Diablo, Morang, Epps, Malcolm Kuntz. You can only pick one. Who is it? Tony says Spillane. Brandon Ryan says I would keep Jack. Arnie says Kuntz pass rushers don't grow on trees. That's a good point. Linebackers, though, I would say linebackers who are top 3 tacklers in the NFL also don't grow on trees, and we don't know if Malcolm Kuntz is going to be healthy or if he'll get back to form, right? I mean, he was on this team for 3 years and didn't do much until the end of last season. So, was that just a fluke because the defense was just so hyped up and doing so great? Or does he really have that in him to get 14, 15 sacks a game? A game. That would be crazy. A year. That I don't know. And that's kind of the part that scares me. But you know what you got with Robert Spillane. You have a top 5 linebacker in the NFL with Robert Spillane. Because he is top 3. I think he might. It goes week to week, but he's like right up there. Either one week he's the number 1 tackler in the NFL, or he's, top 3. Yeah, Kuntz was in the doghouse mostly because they drafted Tyree, I think, too, right? So because they drafted Tyree, they had to go with their 7th overall draft pick, and that kind of just didn't allow Kuntz to get out there. Brady Ryan says Kuntz is still not proven yet. Small sample size. That's true. That's true. And that's why I said, man, if you only got to pick one, you only got one shot, I would have to go Spillane. Nate Hobbs, one of the best nickel corners in the NFL. Morang has been playing really good at safety. I mean, not superstardom, but he's been playing really good. Divine Diablo is hit and miss. Sometimes he has a great play. Sometimes you're just scratching your head at him. But with Spillane, he is your constant. He doesn't have a big injury issue. He's still relatively young. I think he's going to be 27 next year. So, man, I know I would hate to see Kuntz go. Honestly, in all reality, though, I honestly don't think Kuntz comes back to the Raiders because he's going to want to test the free agency market. Because the Kuntz are going to give him they'll give him a dog deal, just a straight up. They'll dog him out. They might give him like the bare minimum, 1-year contract, 1-year minimum contract size because of his injury, and rightly so because you don't know what he's going to do. But he might just be like, you know what? Nah, man. I got some game tape of 8 sacks on the season. I can be making at least $4 or $5 million a year. I'm not going to take your 900,000. I'm not doing it. And he might just walk and go on. Arnie says, would you keep AOC starting until Shador is ready to go? I would. Now, I'm a big proponent in running, or quarterbacks especially, not starting right away. The NFL is a different game. It's a different beast. And if that quarterback's not ready, you can destroy them. We've seen it happen. Sam Darnold was not ready. Baker Mayfield was not ready. Bryce Young clearly was not ready. But they rushed these guys in because they're such a high draft pick. Like, you've got to go now. And sometimes it works. Sometimes you've got a superstar like a CJ Stroud or a Jaden Daniels, and it just works. But sometimes it doesn't, and it destroys their confidence, and then they flame out. So I think that you would probably start Aidan O'Connell if we draft Shador or Cam Ward. I think you would probably, if Antonio Pierce is the coach, it'll be Aidan O'Connell starting for at least the first 4 weeks. Because he said the same thing. He doesn't believe in starting rookies right away, especially quarterbacks. Is Shador or Cam ready to start on day one if we get their college OC? No, that wouldn't make any difference. That would not make any difference at all. And I'll tell you why it wouldn't make any difference, because it's not the playbook. in reality, these guys can learn a playbook in a week. It's all the same crap. It's just different verbiage. So they just have to memorize the verbiage. That's it. It's the same post routes, the same slant routes, the same go routes, the same hitch routes. Look, football is not being reinvented week in and week out. It's all the same playbook. It's just different verbiage and different personnel packages for it. So the playbook's not the big thing. The reason why quarterbacks are not ready is because they've never seen the exotic blitz packages that you get in the NFL. They don't do that in college. On average, a college defense will run less than 6 different packages in a game. You might see 30 in a game in the NFL. The shifts, the motions, the disguises. That's where these quarterbacks, some of them really are, they struggle. Is the pre-snap motions and looks that the defenses are getting them, they're not able to handle it. And so what you really need is you need that full off season for them to see it against their own defense doing it to them. And then they need to see it for another bare minimum 4 weeks of regular season of sitting on the sideline, but watching it, studying tape, watching it, seeing how the other quarterback's dealing with it. And then practice, doing the same thing in practice. They're getting used to those exotic blitzes and learning how to pick those things up. And otherwise, they just, they come in, they sail the ball, and they throw 25 interceptions and 7 touchdowns, and you have a disaster. Now, this is really going to be up to the coach, because obviously if you have a Houston Texans, if you have a Washington Commanders, and you got a C.J. Stroud, you got a Jaden Daniels, the Denver Broncos with Bo Nix, he is now starting to pick it up, but you could see in his first couple of games, he looked horrible. But now he's looking really good. In fact, he's leading touchdowns by a rookie quarterback right now. So they just need a bit of time. So yeah, I think that you could definitely see Aidan O'Connell being the starting quarterback for the first 4 games next year. But if you just have a dude that's tearing up your defense in practice, then maybe and he tears it up in preseason, then maybe you look at him and be like, I don't know, man. Most quarterbacks can't do this at this level so soon. Maybe. Oh my goodness. What was that? My internet went blue. It says to ask Coons what he's looking for post-injury concern as a free agent. Western says, do you like Sanders or Ward better? I like Ward better, but again, it's a coin toss. It is a coin toss. I just think that one of the issues that I have with Shador is he does tend to throw a bunch of 50-50 balls to Travis Hunter. And if he doesn't have that in the NFL, will he be throwing a bunch of interceptions? Cam Ward, I think, is just a phenomenal athlete, the way that he's able to chuck the ball. It's very impressive. So again, it's 1A, 1B, coin toss. I would be okay with either one. Arnie says, who would you draft top 5 if we get our QB? Who is Raider D top big board with QB. Who would you draft top 5 if we can't get our QB? Oh yeah, so I mean I've talked about this. There's a couple guys, obviously Tatarioa McMillan, wide receiver, Arizona. Dude's going to be phenomenal in the NFL. But if you've already got T. Higgins in the free agency, then you don't need a wide receiver. There's a couple of offensive tackles that might go early in the first round. Ashton Genty he's over 2,000 yards now. I don't know if he's gonna. I mean, he'll have to have 2 really big games. I think they only have 2 games left, right? Boise State. Let me check. I think Genty only has 2 regular season games left. If he's going to break Barry Sanders' record, he needs 2 games of over 300 yards. And I don't think he's going to get that. Let's see if I can figure this out. How many games do they have left? Dun, dun, dun. Okay, so we got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. He's played 11 games. Two, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Huh. Yeah, I don't think he's going to be able to get it. I think they only have one more regular season and then the Mountain West. I don't know if the Mountain West will count towards that goal. But if Ashton Genty even gets, I mean, if he gets 2,300 rushing yards, the dude's going to go top 10 for sure. Draft boards have him going to Cincinnati at pick number 10 or 11. So that's a dude that I would definitely be very interested in. Ashton Genty, Abdul Carter out of Penn State. He's a Micah Parsons 2.0. I've said it a million times. He's on my draft board. I would take him. He's generational. Ashton Genty, generational. Tateroa, I know I'm not pronouncing that name right. McMillan, I wouldn't say he's generational, but he is definitely a top 5 wide receiver. Top 5 pick overall type of wide receiver. And then high in the draft, if that's probably what I would do. I would probably go McMillan if you don't have T. Higgins. I would go gosh, man, it's so hard because Abdul Carter is going to be phenomenal in the NFL. But Ashton Genty, I mean, who wouldn't want Barry Sanders 2.0 on their team? It would be hard not to pick Ashton Genty if we didn't have a quarterback. And let's say this. What if crazy scenario, Aidan O'Connell comes out just blazing guns. I don't think he's going to be able to do that. But let's say he just comes out blazing guns. And he's looking like our franchise quarterback. He's looking like our Peyton Manning. He's just methodically tearing up defenses for the last, 6 games. He's just ripping them apart. And we don't get a quarterback. And we get knocked from, the first overall draft pick down to pick number 8, 9, or 10. I would say go Ashton Genty then. Because I know Ashton Genty plays for Boise State. And I know he's not going up against the most elite defenses. I'm not sure that if he was going up against Oklahoma's defense or Georgia's defense or Bama's defense that he would be doing what he's doing. However, they are ranked, I think 12, 11 or 12. I don't know if they moved up. They were ranked on Saturday 12. That gets them into the playoff. Let's see what Ashton Genty does against the big boys. But I mean, if the draft was tomorrow and AOC was looking like our quarterback of the future, I would say, yeah, Ashton Genty's the man. I would draft him just because he's absolutely crazy. Well, it looks like we're having connection issues, which is why everybody's dropped off. I don't know if you guys can hear me. Sorry about that. I forgot to turn the Wi-Fi off and just have it hardwired. So I'll go ahead and cut it for tonight. I'll be back tomorrow. Don't worry. I'll make sure I turn the Wi-Fi off and just have it hardwired so we don't cut out. But until then, salute Raider Nation. I will see you guys tomorrow. Y'all have a great night. Raiders just win, baby.